Hi guys, hi बोल रहे हो यार. How are you doing? You can say hi in the chat. So I guess yesterday we were on arrays and we were covering everything till arrays. And I hope you understood the point where I have explained you complexity, where I have explained you the part uh, which reflects why complexity is used. Now we would be moving to more fundamental types of DS more than anything. And I have prepared a presentation for you. It was meant for yesterday, but delay is my second name. So I'll I'll share the screen. You can say hi if you want. Like it feels like I'm not teaching to anyone if I don't have any. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Nimesh. Thank you, Nimesh, for being a lifesaver, and thank you so much for telling that it's visible. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to start. I guess, Nikhil, I received a mail from your end stating that you are preparing for interviews for Amazon specifically. So, yes, Amazon, for Amazon, I guess they start from fundamentals, but they go up to tries as well. So, they ask questions on tries, they ask questions on such questions. And thank you so much. Okay. So today we are going to cover arrays, okay? I'll share my screen. Okay. So we were actually discussing arrays yesterday, right? If you remember, I told you how arrays were stored. Remember, if you have seen the yesterday's video, or if you have gone through yesterday's video, you know how arrays are stored. Now, what we have to focus upon over here is, or what we have to think upon here is that if we know how arrays are stored and how whenever we start a program, how what does happen in static and what does happen in uh, dynamic array, what is happening in these two kinds of array. So you have to focus upon why, and you have to look upon like what is the speed whenever they are accessing some piece of information inside an array. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do, I was telling you about static and dynamic array, remember? So static array is something which is very specific. Okay, static array is something which is always set out to be, which doesn't change as the name it is. And what we have seen in static array, uh, and the amount like yesterday you saw what happened in static array and how we take care of static array. Here we can focus upon, see, so this is a static array. Okay, 1 2 3, simple static array, and you really need to fetch out something. For example, array 2. Okay, you need to fetch out array 2 out of your static array. You need to fetch out this information. So what our information is going through is very basic and very instant. Okay, you need to remember this, because whenever a process is happening, you need to look upon the process, what kind of process it is, and what is happening in that process. Okay, so it's very basic and it's very instant. Why it's very basic and instant? Because first thing, it knew the location, right? If you remember that the way we have saved the array, it's very arbitrary right now. So if you remember, the information we have saved over 1, 2, we'll rename it 3, 4. So we took 24 pieces of this block, right? We took 24 pieces, and these 24 pieces, I'm gonna zoom out to real good, and like for example, if I take 24 pieces from this block, okay, and this is our block, and we just take this block, and I'll take 24 pieces from this, and you can just follow through. Okay, so I took 24 pieces. So now my memory knows that these 24 pieces of memory has been given to this specific memory slots, this specific memory address. For example, this is 1, 2, 3. So so the computer knows, the OS knows, okay, he is there at that place. So for example, let's take an example. So how to know that how static array works and how instantly you tell. So for example, you live in Malad. You live in Malad in Mumbai. So somebody asks you, buddy, I have to go till Malad. How do I go? So from Delhi to Punjab to Chennai to Bangalore, anywhere you live, anywhere asks you the directions to Malad, you're going to give them in a very easier manner. Okay, so yeah, take a bus, take a train, take a flight or anything, and then go there and there and there and there. They have explained you to a point that they know you know the location very well. So take yourself as an OS and as an operating system, and then it's very easy for you to access that information because it's deeply embedded in you, right? And as you know, every integer has like we have taken 8 memory slots, 8 into 3 memory slots. So you remember what we were doing in the last class, if you remember. So our OS knows the address where it is stored. Okay. So I have prepared a slide for you as well. Okay. Let me go through that. Great design, right? So arrays are very fundamental data structure, a collection of elements values, each identified by array index or key, right? So you know that how we save this, you know, this is changed. Okay, so you know this numbers, and you know these numbers are, this is an array. Okay, this complete thing is an array, and these are the different key index of the array, like the elements of the array. Okay, and they are identified by these values. So these values are something which is they are identified. So take you as a librarian. Okay, so you know which kind of books are kept where. You really don't care about the amount of the books or the type of the books. You really know the classification of the books and how they are indexed. So you care about this number. And in arrays, the index always starts at 0. Remember this, index always starts at 0. Because of the index, random access is possible. Okay, so this is very important thing when you're taking in terms of, when you're speaking in terms of accessing the data. So something you say random access. Random access is what? Oh, I know you are here. So if you have watched Batman and there is a villain called Bane, so Bane, there is a scenario in which Batman comes into darkness and Bane is also there in the darkness, and they say, "You can't beat me in dark." Why? Why is that? Because this our guy Bane over here. If you remember that Taklu guy with a mask, he was very to a point. So this Bane guy knew the darkness, and he knew where Batman is there. A very bad Batman I've drawn, but okay. So the Batman guy is there, right? So Bane had a random access on Batman, And Bane was always able to access Batman because it knew where he went. Yeah, he knew where he went. He knew where he came from. So that random access really helped Bane to do any kind of stuff over him, to beat the shit out of him. So similarly, you have to remember that for arrays, the random access is very much possible. Okay, let's. Okay, I didn't draw on this one. I drew on this one. Okay, I really needed you to explain something on this one. Okay, so as we have took on the index number 4. Okay, remember 4. For index number 4, we have took this is an array named numbers. Okay, and for to access the element on element number 4, all we need to do is write numbers.4. So I'm telling you very basic things. I'm telling you very basic thing, and I'm going to increase the size, increase the level of information in a very slow manner. In a very slow manner, because I just came to know. I had a conversation with some of my friends and some of people. I took advice, and the reason I created such slides. Okay, so multi-dimensional arrays. So who remembers in class 12 we used to draw matrices? Class 11th actually. Who knows in class 11th we were drawing? I'm here for. Okay, yeah, sorry, that was a delay. Uh, I just uh, I just closed the. Are you able to see me now? Yeah. Hey, Azabaya, what's up? So this is the next thing I'm going to cover is so we are going through the slides, and I'm going to take every topic. I'm going to take from very basic. I'm going to explain you very basic to the maximum amount of questions we can do using this, like the amount of questions you can solve using this. Okay. So I'll just go back to that, and I won't be able to take your questions, or I won't be able to see you, but I'm always here after that. The moment I just get completed with one specific topic, I'll come back to you, and then we'll have a discussion. Works? I hope it does. Okay. Back to the base. Okay. So you remember in class 11th, this is something. So if you remember, this was taught to us in class 11th, right? These are the matrices, and they made us do. So I am speaking in terms of CBSE. I don't know what happened in ICSE. Very tough schooling. So these kind of matrices were made, and matrices were something which were a collection of a collection or a series of different arrays, right? And as you can see over here, like it's something which is very important to computation. It is very important to computation, because this is how memories are kept. This is, for example, if you're taking some example, or if you're knowing something, this is how memory has been kept for years and years, and this is how in memory it has been saved. I told you earlier that how memory works. So this is the reason how this is how memory works. So a memory can be taken. I'm jumping the gun over here, or I'm jumping the ship over here, but memory is called something which is very much similar to a multi-dimensional array. Okay. Okay. So let me move on to the next slide. Okay. So over here, if I'm saving a number, okay, these are my column indexes and these are my row indexes. Okay. And these column and rows indexes, both of them, they are making my complete number index. And for me to access a number, so if you remember, this is 0, 0, this is 0, 1, this is 0, 2, this is 0, 3. Similarly, the data has been saved in these matrices, and in these like we can call them addresses. So these particular addresses. So for me to access number 23, the data has been saved over here. Okay, understood? How it has been followed? Row and column. If your maths teacher would be watching this right now, she would be, okay, man, this is so easy stuff, right? This is very easy stuff. She would know that, yeah, my budget is gonna know this. Okay. So arrays is something we so this is a very elemental form. This is a very elemental form I really want people to understand, and this is something you can screenshot it, or I am going to share this presentation with you. So arrays are data structure in order to store the item of the same type. Okay, so remember this and this. Okay, focus on this one. Store the item of same type. So if you remember that we used to be in classes, right, and we used to be sitting in rows and columns, and there were people, there were different kind of people. So here they were front benchers, right? Here there were back benchers. And here was the generic janta of the class. So this generic janta of the class, came with many kind of people, different kind of people. Everybody had a group with themselves. First, front benchers had a group with themselves. Back benchers had a great group with themselves. The middle benchers have a great group with themselves. Then there were some people who were not in group, but they were a group of with someone else from a different class. So everybody grouped themselves, right? And everybody was looking for, or everybody was searching for the same type of people. Okay, everybody was searching for, okay, the same type of people. We use indices as keys. So you remember that if I have to access anything, so it goes with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These particular keys can help us access anyone in any class. Understood? So for example, if I have someone like, for example, I have Sham. Okay, this Sham guy, I'm a fan of Sham guy. I'm a friends with him, and I'm going to ask that particular guy, okay, Sham, what is the best way to access you? What is the best way to know you? So he says, I just sit over here. You can sit with me. Okay, we are at an index place of 0 and 1. So I'm easily able to access Sham, right? So this is how this works. Arrays can have many dimensions as we want. 1 or 2 dimensional are always quite popular. So people who know C++, or who are being studying C++, you know about 1D and 2D arrays. Don't worry if you have not studied C++, because I'm here to help you. And so over here, if I've said that if I have to store a matrix, what do we have to do? A matrix can be put into a multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array is something which is very similar to memory. Okay, and what is like? I'll specifically tell about this dynamic array. Dynamic array is something which is changing dynamically. Okay, so in what kind of questions it use it, and what kind of questions you can solve with this. So lookup tables and hash tables and heaps. Okay, and let me tell you more about this. What kind of questions we can solve through this. So generally, when in terms of an interview, they will ask you accessing the element. Okay. This is a very generalized question, but they generally ask you initialization of an array and traversing of an array. And traversing of an array. After these, like you have to after initialization and traversing, there would be some part which will be used for dynamic So these are the parts which we really need to cover, and these are the parts which you really need to focus upon. And the questions that would come: reverse an array, okay, rotate an array. After this, after reversing and rotating, there would be a the third topic would reverse, rotate, and leaders in array. That, sorry, that was slack. And the last question I will give you as an homework would be trapping rainwater. Okay. So these are the things you really need to focus upon when you are doing basic arrays and whenever you have started arrays. Okay. So you really need to know how to access an element. You really need to know how to initialize and reverse. You really need to know what is a dynamic array, how to reverse it, how to rotate an array, what are leaders in array, and how trapping rainwater question. Okay. So this is something which we are going to cover. Okay. After that, let's move on to the very first topic. And as I have explained arrays to you, let me explain the advantages and disadvantages, and then we'll move on to the specifics. Okay, so we can use random access because the keys. Okay, so as you can see for arrays, as you know that there is time constant. So this is time constant for array. If you know that there are n number of inputs, and if you know there are n number of inputs, and it is going to return something whenever you're doing something with it. So what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Uh, or this can wait. This can surely wait. Okay. So what are the advantages of an array? So for array, whenever you have some information with you, or whenever you have a piece of information with you, you can easily access it, and it's because of the random access. Okay. So you have to focus upon random access over here. Random access is something which makes it very fast because of the keys. Like we have the index with us, and we know that return value is going to be very fast. So it's very easy to implement and to use, and it's a very fast data structure. Remember that. We should use arrays in application where so this is something which is from my personal end, that if you want to add items over and over again, you can use something like arrays, because you know that array is going to be a line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes on and on. So this array is a line, and this array is something which explains you, or this array is something which explains you to a point. Which explains you to a point that how you can add something to an array again and again. So for example, you have a very large data with you, and that large data is something which is coming in a very random form, and you want to add that to that data again and again. How are you going to do that? You are going to just make an array, and something I want to add to this. Something I really want to add to this is it's cache friendly friendliness. Okay, so this is very much cache friendly. Okay, because array save the data in the auxiliary memory. This is the reason it gets saved into the cache, and it's very quickly accessible. So the moment you need to access the data, or the moment you need to know, okay, this has been saved in this has been saved in that. All you need to do is just look upon where it has been saved. It's because of its cache friendliness, and the data is stored in auxiliary memory. Moving on to the next part, disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages of arrays? We know that the size of the array is at the compile time. So something which is not very dynamic with arrays, something which we don't prefer arrays, or we don't think that arrays is going to help us. So this is not a dynamic data structure. So remember, so we have to know the size. So generally, if you don't know the size, if it's not static, or generally if you don't know what is the value of n, it makes it very, for the program, it's super impossible to know what is going to happen with the array. So it is not a dynamic data structure. After that, it is full. Yeah, it's super easy to understand that we have to create a bigger array, or we have to create, for example, the moment you know that this is 3, 4, you have created an array. You need to add something. You need to add something on the go. Like you just have to just put this out of play, and you have to make it 3, 4, and 5. You just can't do that. You have to reconstruct the complete array, and then only you can just append to this complete thing. Whenever you're playing in languages like JavaScript, or whenever you're playing languages in Python, so you have to reconstruct the complete array, and that is the only way you can actually append something. And you just can't have different data types. You just can't have Chile and number 2 and Real Madrid. You just can't have that. You just can't have a string. You just can't have an integer. You just can't have different kind of data types in the same list or array. Okay. Okay. So there are different kind of operations, if you know. So I have told you, I have given you an example yesterday. You can add things to an array until the array is not full. So it goes the same like this cup. You can add things to it, right? You can add water, you can add chai, you can add coffee, you can add anything. But it's to a point that it's not full. It's to a point it's not full. The moment it gets full, you just can't add that. That would be very foolish to do that. So, for example, take this array with you, okay? And this array has this index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And we have to add 34. So what do you think? What do you think that if I need to add 34, where the 34 is gonna go? What do you think? वैसे तो it's very easy question, but I have asked you, तो पूछना पड़ेगा कि what do you think यार, कहाँ जाएगा ये? अगर हमने this has gone the entry through this, will it go over here? 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 Here, where? Where will the 34 will be entered? Ring any bells? Okay, so let me tell you. The 34 is gonna enter at the 0 index. Yes, this is how this works. So you can see how an operation works over array. So whenever you need to add something, it gets added to something on very first indexed number, very first indexed position. It gets added to the very first indexed position. So whenever someone asks you, okay, if I'm not giving the specification where I need to add something, where it should be added. Now, if I need, यार ये question मुझे तुमसे पूछना था, but okay, if I really needed to add 12 to this, so what is going to happen? Either it's going to be here. वैसे तो surprise has been ruined, but it's going to be added over here. right? Yes. So this is how addition is going on. As you can see, the amount of time I'm adding something to my array, or the amount of time I am writing something to get these numbers added to this through this. This is adding in the next index column. So it is adding into the next index column. It's moving like this, and this. Okay. So, and the operation is very fast. Why? Because it knows the size of the array, and it is working on a time constant notation. This is moving on a very much time constant notation. And why it's working on a time constant notation, as you can see over here, if you can see over here that every time it is adding something to the array, the new values all they have to be inserted into the next index. So it's something your program knows about. So what happens in a scenario where I have to add to a position? Okay, so this is the sequence what I have created for you. So I have to insert this. Okay, and I have given the index with it as well. So what do you think is going to happen? I just clicked on it by mistake. So as you can see over here, if you can see over here that for this to move, for this to be in any position, that something can be added. So do you remember a game called Jenga? Do you know a game called Jenga? अब ये जानने के लिए I have to keep it. यार. Do you know a game called Jenga, bhai? Have you heard about a game called Jenga? No. Achha. That was a heartbreaker. मैं बताता हूँ यार जेंगा क्या होता है. Okay. So as you can see, there is this game called Jenga. Or is game के अंदर ना what happens that you have to put things like this. You have to put this is very much a good way to answer this. Yes, exactly. Stacking wooden blocks. So इसके अंदर क्या होता है यार? इसके अंदर ना हम ऐसे अलग-अलग wooden blocks डालते हैं और अलग-अलग wooden blocks रखते हैं and we stack it. And we stack it in a way that if we remove some blocks, still it's going to balance it all. Still it's going to be balanced and still it's going to be there. So the moment we need to move it, or the moment we need to really remove something, we really need to take out that block and we have to put it on the top. Okay, this is how this works in Jenga. So similarly, if you have to see over here, if you have to see over here, that I really want to insert 23,1. So 23,1, if I need to insert it in my array. So imagine an array. There is an array. You have an array with you, and you have to add something to that array. Sounds a bit difficult. It's not actually, but you have to add something to that array by removing someone. Now that's difficult, right? Because adding something was very easy. You know that it's gonna get started at 0, then it's going to get started at क्या हुआ भाई? So you know it's gonna get started at 0. Then it's gonna get at 1. It's gonna get at 2. Get at 3. But now we know that this is the index place for it. So what it's going to do is something you must focus upon. Okay, this is how it was looking. After that, as you can see, that this has shifted from here. This will be shifted from here to here, and this 12. You think where it's gonna shift? It's gonna be here. Okay, and this 23 would come over here. So this is how a array operation works when if you have to insert something. So these guys are not that bad. They just don't throw out anyone out of the play. They ask that person or they ask that particular person to be in that game, and then they shift out a little. It's like side हो जाओ भाई अपना ही भाई आया है बिठा लेते हैं. Get aside. It's our friend. Let's have him. Let's give him a seat. It's not something. Oh, you get out of the bus and this new guy is going to sit over there. So this doesn't happen like that. They are good people and they are like, okay, we will adjust till a point that until we have a space. If this bus has been in India, you know what would happen? So we Indians are very good people and we really need, we really know how to adjust with things and how to adjust with things. The moment someone comes, we would give seat to him 34, 23, 12, 120, minus 5, 6, 7. But we would adjust itself 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. So it's going to go on and on. Every friend is going to. So we are called a very big-hearted people, and this is the reason. So this is why I guess we were not the people who discovered what arrays was. We are good at studying them, but we are not so good at just creating them because we are kind of big-hearted people. So we would be like, "Arey, aa jao." So such kind of memory would do a lot of mistakes. So it's a joke. Don't take it to your heart. Okay. So sometimes sometimes what would happen that if I don't know where to shift that memory, okay, and there are a lot of values with me. For example, if there is 23, 1, 14, 6, 15, 7, like these are these kind of memories with me. So then with this, I am going to get n times complexity because I don't know that why a time is even constant, or I don't know what is going to change. I don't know what is the real length of the array. I hope you have understood till here. I hope. Hope is the best thing I could do. Okay, moving on to the next part. So, you have to always remember this. Add a new item. It's going to have on O1 constant time. And when you have to add something which is not specific, or like you have to add it to a given index, but you don't know how many movements there are going to be. So it's going to be on ON. So if we have to remove the last item, okay, if we have to remove the last item and we are going to use O1, like this, the time constant notation. So if we have to remove an element, we are using something which is very time constant, which is not something which would not be or which would not be suggested as key in the ON complexity. Again, if you are not able to understand, I would redo this, or you can just go back and watch it again. So if you are removing something, if you are removing -5, okay, so removing -5 would be a O1 time complexity. This operation is a O1 time complexity as explained. Because I know what is the size of the array, I know who I have to remove, I know what is going to happen when I remove it. So I know that. Okay. So what I have to write is remove last. This is something, and then we have removed -5 from here. We remember -5, he was a great comrade, but he has been removed. So you know what has happened. You know what has happened to this. Now we have to do the same. We have to do the same with something on index number 3. So this is all happening if you can focus on this. This is all happening at O1 time complexity. So the operation you're doing, the operation you're taking care of, the operation you're removing from, it's happening at O1 time complexity. So this time complexity shows us, or this complexity reflects us, that if we have to remove something, we know at what end it's happening. So for example, if I have to remove this, if I have to remove this part of the remote, do I know that where this complete remote has been formed from? Do I know what is the composition of this remote? No, I don't know such things. All I really need to know is the location where I can take this from and remove this. That's it. And similarly goes the same for similarly it goes the same for this. Okay. So we know the operation. So see, guys, for the next last classes, I was doing it on a whiteboard. I was explaining you things on a whiteboard, and I was a bit fast. But I realized, speaking to my friends, speaking to my family, that I really need you to understand the basics of arrays, and I really need you to understand how the basics of these things works. Then only you would be able to solve questions. Because if you don't know the basics, you won't be able to solve anything. So now we have removed 120 and now we have removed -5. How did that happen? We just typed down remove last and then we were able to remove that. Okay. Now, array operation items with a given index. We would like to remove a value with a given index, and it's not that simple when we have to shift items. Okay. When you have to tell कि भाई इस बंदे को निकालो, you have to remove that specific person, not the last person, not the first person, the person who's sitting in the middle. So if teacher has to say, okay, the person who is sitting in the middle in your class, for example, this is a blackboard, this is teacher standing, and there are students front benches over here, front benches over here, there are bags lying over here, bags lying over here, and the teacher says, okay, Rahul, just get up and get out of the class. So Rahul just gets up, he walks from here over here, then he gets stumbled upon those bags, then he comes still here. So in this time, in this complete time, जब Rahul is standing, जब Rahul खड़ा हो रहा है और जब तक वो पहुंच रहा है, he's reaching to the blackboard. It's taking too much time and it's too much complex to know that why Rahul is doing that stuff, and Rahul has been made to stand up. Because removing the first person was super easy. Hey, get out. And he just gets up and get out of the class. And there is one more door over here and teacher says, hey, get up and get out. So it was very easy for teacher to remove these children. But removing something from the middle row or removing something from the very specific row and asking them to come from same door or asking them to get out of the same door, it's super tough, right? So now over here, if I say remove 1, okay, so the time complexity changes for this. This would be for ON time complexity. Okay, as I have written, but still again, telling you again that for the ON time complexity, you have to focus upon this. My child has got so. Okay, so as you know that at a one-time complexity we are able to remove them, and this is going to create a ruckus. So I come with a new program, and here I write remove 1. So I am the teacher of the class, sadly, and I would be like, "Oi, Ramesh, get out, bhai." So if I speak to Ramesh or if I speak to Rahul, and I'll be like, "Okay, get out," and that guy sitting in the middle row. So what kind of complexity it would take? ON time complexity, because it's super complex for him to stand up. So in memory, it's nothing like that happening. Okay, just don't go imagine that there is this guy standing up and he's coming out. So whenever you're telling that there is something specific that really needs to be removed, that this Ramesh guy, oh Ramesh, so this, oh, I don't know why did I say that. These are very funny names, Ramesh, Mukesh, if you remember. So Mukesh always started in every movie, right? Mera naam Mukesh, if you remember. He died. I think I shouldn't joke on that. Yeah. So this guy Ramesh. Okay, I have to remove Ramesh. I have been told from the college authorities that boom, but yeah, remove this guy. And I know in which class he is and where he is sitting. But here's the play. So I have to specifically go and search for him. And that search, either I know the index I know the index, still it's going to take it as an on time complexity. Understood? So if I have to remove Ramesh, I have to take a lot of pain. I have to go through a lot of pain to remove that idiot out of my class. So I have logged down to the location of Ramesh. I know now where he's sitting, and now I'm ready as a tiger, and I have to remove Ramesh. And boom, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Ramesh, get out. So remove one is working, and Ramesh, oh shit. So this I'm gonna write to Microsoft. Like, what is this, man? Yeah. So I guess this is visible. So, remove Ramesh is working, and you have to remove him out of the class. Okay. So this removal process, or this complete process of removal, it's happening at on time complexity. And the moment you do it, boom, Ramesh is not there. We miss Ramesh, but he was an ass. We have to get him out of the class. So the moment we have done this, the moment we have our array like this, people are sitting over here. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? So this is India, guys. No, this is not India. This is Germany. I can't remove this. Yeah. So this is Germany, and people are like, they don't care about who sits or whoever sits, because in India, if Ramesh has gone out of the class, nobody is going to take Ramesh's place, because we miss Ramesh. We are going to keep a place for him. It's not something that like we are going to move to his place, and we are not very much interested in the class. So we are going to miss him. We have left him a seat. But this is German, and we have Romshom with us, and we have to remove Romshom out of the class, and he has been removed. So in his memory, nobody's done nothing. And what happens? What happens? Yeah. So people are moving back to that place. So 12 moved to that place completely. 120 moved to that place completely, and 5 moved to that place completely. So overall, complexity will be a linear one. Sadly, sadly, if he has been removed, you would be seeing a complexity like this. So removing the first item was, what was it? Either if you have to remove the first item, or if you have to remove the last item, it is at O1. And removing something from the middle, it's ON. So we are missing Ramesh and everything, but we were very menial people, and we only did this to understand the concept of arrays. So yes, removing a last item is O1, and removing a middle item is ON. So you understood what how this works? Yes, keep that. You understood the special amount of slides I have created for you guys. The special slide I have created for you. If you understood, I hope you understood. So moving on to the next topic. As I told you, इसकी यार थोड़ी थोड़ी width कम करते हैं, है ना? पतला सा लिखते हैं. So now you know how to access elements, right? Now you know how to access elements, and now you know where elements are stored. So for example, if there is an array, so if there is an array, okay, चमकीले पेन से लिखेंगे क्या? Okay, yes, there is an array, and the array position is 1, 2, 3, 8, 5, 30. Okay, ये इतना अच्छा लग नहीं रहा है, but it is what it is. ठीक है, सारी लोकेशन कॉन्टिन्यूअस है. Okay, कॉन्टिन्यूअस लोकेशन है ये सारी, ठीक है। और ये सारी लोकेशन कैसे एक्ट करती हैं? मान लो भाई ये x पे है, दिस इज x+4, दिस इज x+, सोचते रहो 8 भाई, ठीक है। So at these position it has been saved, okay, and we know I'm giving you a small revision भैया, क्योंकि तुम लोग बहुत अच्छे बच्चे हो ना, तुम भूल ना जाओ। So advantages, अब इसके एडवांटेजेस क्या थे भाई? ये है रैंडम एक्सेस पे, ओके। और इसकी सेकंड चीज क्या है? व्हाट इज द सेकंड चीज? इसकी कैश फ्रेंडलीनेस। तो कैश से इसकी यारी दोस्ती बहुत ज्यादा है। Why? Okay. So the cache friendliness is amazing, and if you really need to access something, you can easily access it. So what are the disadvantages? Disadvantages may I would be telling you something that if we have to create an array, okay, we have to do a very important stuff, that we have to remember the word allocate memory. We have to pre-allocate the memory, and what does it do? It wastes space, because I don't know that what is going to be the length, or what is going to be the complete length of my array. Okay, so what it does when it saves data, it takes, for example, O1 plus O1. Okay, whenever you create an array and it is saving a data, and it goes up till O(n), okay, and over here, whenever it is getting saved, O(n+1), not O(n+1). हट जाओ। ये सब हो सकता है, इसके अंदर डिलीट कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, सब हो सकता है। हाँ, and this is saved over n+1. n+1 are the elements what you have been storing, and these are the elements you would be focusing upon. Okay, so now coming back to the point where we do questions on this. भाई क्वेश्चंस पे फोकस करना, क्योंकि यही आएंगे प्लेसमेंट्स में. You have to focus on that. This is going to be asked, because now you know everything. Now you know how to do an operation on an array. Now you know what happens on an array. Now you know like stuff happening over array. So coming to the questions. Okay. हल्का सा उस पर रखेंगे और हम करेंगे okay. I hope this works. Okay, yeah, it does. Reverse an array. How to reverse an array? For example, input array. Input array would be array. Boom, boom. Think of some random number. 1, 2, 3, 10, 4. 1, 2, 3, 10, 4. So this is input array. Output array. As you can see, what do we have to do? Is I have to reverse this thing, right? So like it has to start from there and it has to go till there. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa sa ni. So like you have to do that. Similarly, you are reversing an array. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. You have to do re mi. So yeah, you have to come back. So this is what is happening in reverse array. I was dying to do that. So yes, 4, 10, 3, 2, 1. So there can be many solutions to it, but we have to find out the best solution to this. And the best solution to this would be, not the best, I'm gonna write what kind of solutions could be. We can use a temporary array. Okay, use a temporary array, and that array would take your auxiliary space. That would be saved in the auxiliary space. You use a temporary array, you save in that, and then you reverse that complete thing. Okay. What else you could do? What else could you do, bhai? So you could use a very famous two-pointer system. We call this as a two-pointer system, and those pointers would be low, 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 low. If you have heard that, I'm sorry for being lame, yeah. I'm sorry for being lame. And high. Okay. So we have two pointers with us, and these two pointers are low and high. So low is 0 and high is n minus 1. While low is, we put a while loop, and low is smaller than high. Okay. So the moment you do that, why are you doing that? So you have a pointer with you low, and you have a pointer with you high. And you have to find out the different positions of your array, and take this as a pseudo code, or understand it as a pseudo code for this. And the moment you have to do that, all you need to do is you have to write swap, sorry, and so let me explain you. I have written this. So I have to swap the array from low to high, and I have to understand that this is the lower version and this is the higher version, and then boom, I would be taking that and reversing the complete thing. I would be taking that and reversing the complete thing, and that complete thing is very similar to the rotation question, but to a point it's not. I will explain to you at I will explain. I guess I have a very less time left, but it is what it is. Okay. So you understood that point, that either we could do two things. We can use a temporary array, which would be saved into an auxiliary space, and that space would be working on, but that space would be saving the data, and then we can print a new array. But we can also use a two-pointer system, and this two-pointer system is something where we tell us that this is going to be the low and this is going to be the high, and then after that we take a while loop, and in that while loop we sustain that, okay, whenever low is going to be smaller than high, or the highest percentage is going to be bigger, we have to swap that. We have to swap the array values, and then we have to come with a output. Understood till here? If you have not understood, I would do one thing. I would create something for you. I hope you will like that, and that would be a homework for you. Yes, I'm going to give you some homework. So the second question we come to: rotate an array. So you thought your rotate an array we just did right now. Why he's telling you again how to rotate something? We don't know. This one is different for sure. Like you're going to love this one. I hope. I hope. So let's say for this the input is array 5 8 10 12 15. Okay, so we have to rotate an array, and we have to take these two elements. And we have to push those elements to till the end. Like we have to take this element and we have to push those elements to the end. How we are going to do that? think of it. Think of it. It's not a homework right now because I'm going to help you solve that. But as you can see, we can give it our array number. Okay, and for these, if I have to create an output, the array would look like the array would look like this. Okay, and how do I generate such kind of output? When I can do one thing, I can copy this all the elements into a temporary array. All the elements inside a temporary array, and whenever it's needed, I would use that temporary array, and I just copy d+1 elements. Okay, and the moment I do that, the moment I copy those elements, and the moment I copy from temporary element to this new array, I will generate something. I will generate something in this manner. Okay, this manner would be generated if I do that. So what you can do over here is you can pause the video and you can think, how can I do that without this method? How can I do that without this particular method, or how can I do that by not knowing this? So let me tell you something. There is one more way we could do this, and what we could do is that we have to reverse the element. We have to reverse the element from 0 to d-1. Okay, d is d-1. Now, how we can do that? All we need to do is write reverse and the array which we are working upon until where we have to reverse it, that it comes to this output. Okay, so I'm again giving you a pseudo code. You can try this code with any like, you just really don't need to think very much about it. So as I told you that we would be taking this array, right? And after that, we would be taking the element we would be starting from and to the element that we would be rotating to. That would be equivalent to, what do you think would be equivalent to? क्या होगा भाई? ये हमारी array है, right? So now this array would be getting reversed again. And the moment I do this, the moment I run this to the point, hmm, hmm. So what we are doing over here is we are reversing from a entry element to an exit element. So as you can see over here, from zero to d-1, from d to n-1, and from 0 to n-1. So we are reversing it at a point that it gets reversed again and again with the elements inside it. Okay. As you can see, I have changed the complete presentation of the from 0 to d-1. Okay. So from 0 to d-1, you have to focus upon that if the value has been given to that. After that, you see there was a substantial change from 15 coming here from here, 12 being there from there, and 12 coming here from there. Okay. Then again, I ran the reverse from 0 to n-1. So the moment I ran the reverse on 0 to n-1, the last element came over here The second last element came as the first, like this, the first index element, and this element is gonna be here itself as because the position has not changed. But these two elements, they have been reversed to this position. Okay, so now you have to focus upon the values I have given over here. So you have to focus upon these values, what I have done with this value. So 0 to d minus 1, first I made it reverse. Then in that second scenario, I made it reverse from d to n minus 1. And then from reverse 0 to n minus 1, I made one more reverse. So as you can see that I never knew that what could be the actual actual movement of items and actual movement of things. So I will take this complexity as ON and also as at O1 time complexity. So these are the two kind of time complexity I would be focusing upon in this, because this is why this is happening. पहले मैंने start किया 0 से d minus 1, then I went to d to n minus 1, and after d to n minus 1, I got from 0 to n minus 1. You can see I'm completing a complete loop over here, right? As you can see, I'm completing a complete loop over here as how I am moving my elements from one place to other. So try this question out. Try this question out, and please do tag me whenever you're trying this question out. So what you have to do is you have to take this array and you have to give me the code that how would I be able to rotate this. How would I be able to rotate this array? And you can send me the code on my LinkedIn. You can send me the code on my mail. You can send me the code anywhere. I'm tired. ये समझ नहीं आया रिवर्स वाला. अच्छा ठीक है. Just try it out once, and कल हम लोग first चीज क्या करेंगे? Whenever we start, we'll discuss this reverse वाला problem. Okay, we could do that, Nikhil. So जैसे ही हम लोग start करेंगे, तुम एक बार खुद से try करो ये reverse वाला. अगर तुम्हें नहीं समझ आता है, अगर तुम वो नहीं कर पाते हो, तो the first thing we are going to discuss is this reverse problem, and we make sure that हम हमेशा last problems को discuss करें और वो करते हैं. ठीक है? Please go through the mail once. Mail के अंदर we have given a link to a WhatsApp group, and that WhatsApp group is made for you. If you have any doubts at any time, you can ask us in the same group. So yeah, that's it for today, and see you tomorrow. और कोई भी डाउट हो तो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप मेल में दिया हुआ है, वो आप ज्वाइन कर लीजिए, एंड देन यू कैन ऑलवेज आस्क मी कि भाई क्या हो रहा है और क्लास कब है. यू कैन आस्क दैट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, so I would be there to help you. Jay, I have to go, and it was a pleasure having you guys, and tomorrow we are going to discuss arrays, and we are going to discuss the left of the topics as well. So bye bye, nada, sleep well. That's it. Bye.